I found it in the attic, wedged between old Christmas decorations and moth-eaten sweaters, a leather-bound photo album I'd never seen before. The cover was pristine, unlike the cardboard boxes surrounding it, which meant someone had been up here recently, handling it, caring for it. My name's Maddie, and I should have known better than to open it. The first page hit like a punch to the gut. Lindsay's high school graduation. Perfect sister, perfect smile, perfect valedictorian speech preserved in glossy Fourier 6 prints. Mom's handwriting beneath each photo, documenting every achievement with religious devotion. Found something interesting? I slammed the album shut, dust particles dancing in the beam of afternoon light. Grandma Edith stood at the top of the attic stairs, her eyes sharp despite her age. Just some old photos, I said, trying to slide it back where I found it. Margaret's Shrine to Success. Grandma's voice carried that hint of vinegar it always did when discussing my mother's parenting choices. Go ahead, look through it. Sometimes the truth hurts, but it hurts less than pretending. I reopened the album, page after page of my sister's triumphs, Alyssa's first art show, Lindsay's wedding, both their college graduations, their pregnancies, their lives, meticulously cataloged and preserved. Notice anything missing? Grandma asked. Me. The word came out smaller than I intended. 17 years of you, she confirmed. Your dance recitals, your honor roll certificates, that beautiful photograph from the school play last spring where you stole the whole damn show. My throat tightened. Maybe there's another album. Oh, sweet girl. Grandma lowered herself onto a dusty trunk. You know there isn't. I flipped through more pages, each one a fresh reminder of my invisibility. Did you know about this? Found it last week when I was helping your mother clean. She was so proud showing me all those pictures. Didn't even notice what she was really showing me. My fingers traced the edge of a photo, Lindsay's first marketing award. They're all going to be here tomorrow. Family dinner to celebrate Alyssa's pregnancy. Again. And let me guess, they'll need you to watch Lindsay's kids, while they all drink wine and reminisce. Don't they always? Grandma's laugh was sharp. You know, there's a difference between being helpful and being taken for granted. Your sisters learned early how to be the stars. Maybe it's time you learned how to say no. Mom would lose it. Maybe she needs to. I closed the album, but the images stayed burned in my mind. Years of being the reliable one, the good one, the invisible one, all captured in what wasn't there. I got accepted to that art school in New York, I said quietly. Full scholarship. Haven't told anyone yet. Grandma's eyes lit up. Now that's the kind of news that belongs in an album. Mom wants me to go to state, close to home. Practical. I stood up, dust coating my jeans. She already talked to Lindsay about getting me an internship at her company. And what do you want? The question hung in the air like the dust motes, catching light, demanding attention. Below, I could hear Mom in the kitchen, probably planning tomorrow's dinner, probably already counting on me to handle the kids, the cleanup, the countless little tasks that made everyone else's lives easier. I want... The words stuck, then broke free. I want my own damn page in the album. Grandma smiled, slow and knowing. Then I suggest you start taking some pictures worth saving. I tucked the album back in its hiding spot, but something had shifted. Tomorrow they'd all be here, expecting the same old Maddie, reliable as gravity. They had no idea I'd just found the perfect reason to change the story. Coming to dinner tomorrow? I asked Grandma. Wouldn't miss it, she winked. Someone needs to be there to document the moment. I helped her up, both of us descending the attic stairs into the familiar house that suddenly felt different. Less like a home, more like a stage. And for the first time, I was ready to rewrite my role. The family dinner started exactly as I predicted, with Lindsay dumping her kids in my lap before even saying hello. Her 4-year-old twins, Emma and Ethan, immediately began fighting over a stuffed dinosaur while she glided into the kitchen, designer purse swinging. Just watch them for a minute, Mads. Mom needs help with the roast. I caught Grandma Edith's eye across the room. She raised an eyebrow, a silent reminder of our conversation in the attic. My stomach clenched as I stood up, displacing the twins. Actually, I need to finish my art portfolio. College applications are due soon. Lindsay froze mid-stride. What? Since when are you applying to art school? Since I decided I wanted to. The words came out steadier than I felt. But Mom said you're coming to work with me after graduation. We already discussed. You discussed. I wasn't there, remember? The twins sensed the tension and went quiet. In the kitchen, I could hear Mom and Alyssa chattering about baby names. Dad was probably in his workshop, avoiding everything as usual. Don't be difficult, Maddie. Lindsay's voice took on that patronizing tone she used with her kids. This is a great opportunity. Do you know how many people would kill for an internship at my firm? Then give it to one of them. Her perfectly plucked eyebrows drew together. What's gotten into you? Nothing. I headed for the stairs. I just have work to do. Mom! Lindsay called out. Maddie's being impossible. And there it was, the default response when I didn't play my assigned role. Call Mom, let her handle the defective youngest child. Mom appeared in the doorway, wiping her hands on her apron. Madeline, your sister needs help with the twins. Your portfolio can wait. Can it? I turned to face them both. Like my dance recital waited while we attended Lindsay's business dinner, or my art show waited while we celebrated Alyssa's gallery opening. That's not fair, Mom started, but I cut her off. Show me the pictures. What pictures? The ones you took at my events, the ones you saved in that fancy album upstairs. Mom's face flushed. Lindsay looked confused. In the sudden silence, I could hear Grandma Edith's slow footsteps approaching. I don't know what you're talking about, Mom said, but her voice wavered. The album in the attic, the one with all the family memories. I met her eyes. Except I'm not in it, not once. Lindsay scoffed. Don't be dramatic, of course you're in. When was my last dance recital, Lindsay? What role did I play in the spring musical? Name one thing about my life that doesn't involve babysitting your kids. She opened her mouth, closed it. The twins had retreated to the corner, unusually quiet. I think, Grandma Edith said from the doorway, it's time we all sat down for a real conversation. There's nothing to discuss, Mom snapped. Maddie's just being sensitive, and we have dinner to prepare. The roast can burn, Grandma said flatly. This matters more. Alyssa wandered in, one hand on her pregnant belly. What's going on? Your sister's having a tantrum, Lindsay supplied. No, I said. I'm having a revelation. There's a difference. I pulled out my phone, opened my email, and pulled up the acceptance letter I'd received yesterday. The one I'd been both dreading and longing to share. Full scholarship to the New York Academy of Arts, I read aloud. Starting this fall. The silence that followed was deafening. New York? Mom whispered. But that's far away, independent, not part of your plan. I pocketed my phone. Yeah, it is. You can't possibly be serious, Lindsay said. You're 17. You need... What I need, I cut in, is to be seen. Actually seen. Not just used as convenient childcare or background decoration in your perfect lives. Mom started to speak, but Grandma held up a hand. Let her finish. I'm finishing my portfolio tonight, I said. And tomorrow I'm taking pictures of my own achievements, starting my own album. You're all welcome to be in it, but only if you're actually there. I headed upstairs, leaving them in stunned silence. Behind me, I heard the twins ask Lindsay why Aunt Maddie was mad, and for once, my perfect sister had no answer. In my room, I opened my laptop and started working on my portfolio. Through the floor, I could hear raised voices, Mom and Lindsay arguing, Alyssa trying to mediate, Grandma's sharp replies cutting through it all. For the first time in years, I wasn't downstairs making peace. I was up here, making art, making choices, making waves. And it felt absolutely right. Grandma Edith's house always smelled like lavender and old books. I hadn't planned on visiting her today, but after 3 days of Mom's silent treatment and Lindsay's passive-aggressive texts, I needed somewhere safe to breathe. Your mother called, Grandma said, setting down a cup of tea in front of me. Twice. Let me guess. I'm being unreasonable? Actually, she wanted to know if I'd talk some sense into you about the money. I nearly dropped my cup. What money? Grandma settled into her armchair, a slight smile playing at her lips. The college fund I've been building since the day you were born, the one your mother just found out about. You've been saving for my college? Someone had to. She reached for an envelope on the side table. Your sisters had their college funds from your parents, but I saw how things were going. Started putting aside what I could. My hands shook as I opened the envelope. The bank statement inside showed a balance that made my eyes water. This is why Lindsay's been blowing up my phone, I said. She thinks she can pressure me into giving up New York because I'll need their money. And now she knows you don't. A knock at the door made us both jump. Through the window, I saw Lindsay's Mercedes in the driveway. Speak of the devil, Grandma muttered. Want me to send her away? No. I straightened my spine. I need to handle this. Lindsay burst in before Grandma could reach the door. Her perfect makeup couldn't hide the dark circles under her eyes. This is completely inappropriate, she announced. Using Grandma like this. Using me? Grandma's voice could have frozen hell. Child, sit down before you embarrass yourself further. Lindsay sat, but her legs bounced with nervous energy. Mom's devastated. Dad hasn't come out of his workshop in days, and Alyssa's doctor says her blood pressure is too high, which you'd know if you answered her calls. Don't you dare guilt-trip me about Alyssa's pregnancy, I said. Not when you're the one who told her I'd be available to help after the baby comes. Because that's what family does. No, that's what I do. You and Alyssa get to have lives, careers, families. I get to be the support system. We supported you plenty. Name one time. The silence stretched. Grandma quietly sipped her tea. This isn't about support, Lindsay finally said. This is about you being selfish. Running off to New York, abandoning your family. Like you abandoned your dreams? The words shot out before I could stop them. Lindsay went pale. What? You wanted to be a writer, remember? You used to tell me stories when I was little. But Mom and Dad thought marketing was more practical, so you gave up. Now you're successful and miserable, and you can't stand that I'm choosing differently. You don't know anything about my life. I know you cry in your car sometimes after family dinners. I know you hate your job but keep pushing for promotions. I know you want me to follow your path because it would validate your choices. Tears spilled down Lindsay's cheeks, ruining her mascara. That's not... I'm trying to protect you. From what? Being happy? Being myself? From failing. She stood up, hands clenched. Do you know how hard it is out there? How many people never make it in art? At least with me, you'd have security, a future. Like yours? I met her gaze. Living someone else's version of success? The fight seemed to drain out of her. She sank back down, looking smaller somehow, more like the sister who used to read me bedtime stories. I just wanted, she whispered, then stopped. To help? Grandma supplied. Or to control? Lindsay wiped her eyes, leaving black smudges on her fingers. Mom's going to cut you off. She told me to tell you. No car, no phone, no support if you go to New York. I looked at Grandma, who nodded slightly. I don't need it. But I got a full scholarship. I have Grandma's support. And most importantly, I have myself. I stood up. You used to tell me stories about brave girls who fought dragons. Remember? Maybe it's time I fought mine. Lindsay stared at me for a long moment, then gathered her purse with trembling hands. At the door, she paused. The dragons, she said softly. They always won in my stories. No, I corrected her. You just stopped writing before the ending. After she left, Grandma and I sat in silence, watching steam rise from our cups. Outside, Lindsay's car stayed parked for several minutes before finally pulling away. Well, Grandma said, I believe that's what they call a breakthrough. I wasn't sure if she meant for Lindsay or for me. Maybe both. Dad's workshop smelled like sawdust and broken promises. I found him there, sanding the same spot on a cabinet he'd been working on for months, his shoulders hunched against the world. Your mother's crying again, he said without looking up. I know. Alyssa called, said she might lose the baby from stress. The guilt hit like a physical blow, but I forced myself to stand straighter. That's not fair, Dad. He finally turned, his eyes tired behind his safety glasses. None of this is fair, Maddie, but it's family. Is it? I picked up a wood shaving, let it fall. Because from where I stand, family looks a lot like sacrifice. Just not everyone's doing the sacrificing. He set down his sandpaper, a rare sign he was actually engaging. You think I don't understand sacrifice? I gave up my architecture career to support your mother's teaching, to be here for you girls. And how's that working out for you? Hidden in your workshop while everything falls apart? The truth hung between us like dust in the sunbeams. Dad reached for his sandpaper again, but I stepped forward and placed my hand on the cabinet. I found my college essay, I said. The one I wrote last year, about wanting to study art. It was in the trash after Mom reviewed it. His hand trembled slightly. She means well. She means what's best for her version of this family. Just like she meant well when she convinced Lindsay to study marketing instead of writing. Just like she meant well when she told Alyssa her art was just a hobby until she got married. Your mother isn't the only one responsible. I met his eyes. You saw it all happening. You just decided it was easier to build furniture than stand up for your daughters. The workshop door opened, and Mom stood there, her face blotchy from crying. Gregory, I need you to talk sense into her. She's throwing away everything we planned. Like you threw away my essay? The words shot out before I could stop them. Mom froze. Dad suddenly became very interested in his sandpaper again. I was protecting you, she whispered. No, you were protecting yourself. Your perfect family narrative. Your controlled little world where everyone plays their assigned role. That's enough. Dad's voice cracked through the air like a whip, surprising us all. Margaret, sit down. Maddie, you too. We sat on his work stools, the three of us forming a triangle of tension. I got another letter today, I said into the silence. From the New York Academy. They want to feature my portfolio in their incoming student showcase. Mom started to speak, but Dad held up his hand. Let her finish. They said my work shows remarkable emotional depth and technical promise, that I could have a real future in fine arts. I pulled out my phone, showed them the email. The first person I wanted to tell was you, Mom, both of you. But I knew you'd find a way to turn it into something wrong. Mom's lips trembled. We only want what's best. For who? Dad's question cut through her practiced response. We both stared at him. For Maddie? Or for your idea of who she should be? Gregory. No, Margaret, I have been quiet too long. He stood up, pacing between his half-finished projects. I watched you reshape Lindsay's dreams until she forgot they were ever hers. I said nothing when you convinced Alyssa that art was just a phase. But I'm done building cabinets while you dismantle our daughters. Mom's face went white. How dare you? He's right. The words felt like liberation. And you know he is. That's why you're fighting so hard against my choice. Because if I succeed, it proves you were wrong about everything. I was never wrong about wanting to protect you. From what? From being happy? From being ourselves? Dad picked up a small wooden box from his workbench, one I'd never seen before. Inside were newspaper clippings, old sketches, report cards, my sketches, my achievements. I kept them, he said quietly. Everything you thought no one noticed. Mom stared at the box like it was a bomb about to explode. In a way, it was. I'm going to New York, I said, standing up, and I'm done feeling guilty about it. I left them there, Mom with her shattered certainties, Dad with his box of secret pride, and years of unspoken truths floating in the sawdust between them. In the driveway, my phone buzzed with a text from Alyssa. We need to talk. The day wasn't done with me yet. Alyssa's apartment looked like a tornado of art supplies had collided with a baby boutique. She sat cross-legged on her paint-splattered couch, one hand resting on her swollen belly, the other clutching a mug of tea. You're killing Mom, she said without preamble. Funny, she's doing the same to me. This isn't a joke, Maddie. Her blood pressure's through the roof. Dad's talking about therapy, and my doctor says if I don't reduce stress, don't. I stepped over a stack of parenting books. Don't make your pregnancy complications my fault. I'm not. I'm telling you what's happening while you're busy planning your great escape. The bitterness in her voice caught me off guard. Alyssa had always been the peacemaker, the free spirit. Now she sounded more like Lindsay. Remember when you wanted to go to art school? I asked quietly. She flinched. That was different. Was it? Or did Mom just convince you it was? I grew up, Maddie. I realized that art was just a hobby, that you needed something more practical. I picked up one of her recent paintings leaning against the wall. Is that why you still paint every day? Why your entire apartment is a studio? I have a gallery showing next month. Which Mom calls your little hobby show while she brags about Lindsay's promotion. Alyssa set down her mug hard enough to slosh tea onto her coffee table. What do you want from me? I want you to admit that you're angry, not at me, at yourself, for letting them clip your wings. You don't understand. I have a baby to think about now. I need stability. You need to be honest about who you are, what you want. What I want? She stood up, surprisingly agile despite her pregnancy. I want my family whole. I want my sister to stop tearing everything apart just to prove a point. What point? That I deserve to exist outside of your needs? The silence that followed felt like glass about to shatter. I saved all your drawings, she said finally, from when you were little, when you'd sit in my studio and try to copy everything I did. I remember. You were the only one who encouraged me. And now you're better than I ever was. Her voice cracked. You're going to New York to live the dream I gave up, and I'm stuck here painting nursery murals and pretending it's enough. The truth of it hung between us like smoke. Come with me, I said suddenly. What? After the baby. Come to New York. There are galleries there, opportunities. Stop it. She wrapped her arms around herself. Just stop. Why? Because it's easier to resent me than admit you're trapped? Because I can't. The words exploded out of her. I can't leave Mom and Dad. I can't disappoint everyone. I can't be you. My phone buzzed. Another text from Lindsay, probably about Mom's latest crisis. I ignored it. You know what the worst part is? Alyssa continued, tears streaming now. You're right. About everything. About Mom, about our choices, about this whole twisted family dynamic. But knowing doesn't change anything. It changes everything. I moved closer, took her hands. You could, she pulled away. I need you to leave. Alyssa, please. The baby. She pressed a hand to her belly. I can't handle this right now. As I reached the door, she called out, Maddie? I turned. When you get to New York, she swallowed hard. Paint something beautiful, something free, for both of us. Outside, I checked my phone. 5 missed calls from Mom, 3 texts from Lindsay, 1 message from Dad. Your mother's called a family meeting. Tomorrow night, non-negotiable. And there it was, the final showdown they'd been building toward. The last attempt to force me back into my assigned role. I texted back 1 word. No. Then I called Grandma Edith. Can you come with me tomorrow to pack up my room? Her response was immediate. About damn time. The sky was turning the same shade of purple as the bruises on my heart, but for the first time in weeks, I felt light, free. Let them have their family meeting without their favorite scapegoat. I had paintings to create, wings to spread, and a life to reclaim. Tomorrow would be soon enough for goodbye. They ambushed me in the driveway. Mom, Dad, Lindsay, and even Alyssa, arranged like a firing squad as Grandma Edith and I pulled up with empty boxes for my room. Family meeting, Mom said, her voice steel-wrapped cotton. Now. Grandma squeezed my hand. Remember, you don't owe them your dreams. Inside, the living room felt like a courtroom. My sisters flanked our parents on the couch, leaving me the lone chair across from them. Classic Parker family dynamics, everyone against one. This ends now, Mom began. This rebellion, this nonsense about New York. Madeline, Lindsay cut in, using her executive voice. We found a solution that works for everyone. She pulled out a folder, always prepared, always in control. A compromise. You can take art classes at the community college while interning at my firm. Live at home, save money. Keep babysitting your kids, I finished. Don't be difficult, Alyssa said, but her eyes wouldn't meet mine. We're trying to help. No, you're trying to keep me trapped, like you. Mom surged forward. That's enough. Your sister is offering you an opportunity. To follow her path, like you made her follow yours? I made my own choices, Lindsay snapped. Did you? Then why did I find your old notebooks? The stories you used to write? Hidden in Dad's workshop like some shameful secret? The color drained from her face. Dad shifted uncomfortably. This isn't about me, Lindsay said, but her voice wavered. It's about all of us. I stood up, my legs shaking but my voice steady. About how Mom orchestrates everyone's lives like we're her personal puppet show. About how Dad builds furniture instead of building courage. About how you and Alyssa gave up your dreams and now can't stand that I'm fighting for mine. You ungrateful, Mom started, but Dad touched her arm. Margaret, he said quietly. Let her speak. No! Mom shot to her feet. I won't let her destroy this family with her selfishness. You already destroyed it, I said. Every time you ignored my achievements. Every time you made Lindsay choose security over passion. Every time you called Alyssa's art a hobby. I gave you everything, Mom's voice cracked. Everything I never had. Opportunities, stability. You gave us cages. The truth hurt coming out, but I couldn't stop. Beautiful, comfortable cages with all the right labels. Perfect daughter, responsible daughter, and me, the spare, just in case the others needed something. Silence fell like shattered glass. Then Lindsay stood, her corporate mask cracking. If you leave, you're cut off, completely. No support, no backup plan. I don't need your money. I pulled out my phone, showed them the email. Full scholarship, plus Grandma's savings. I'm not asking permission anymore. I'm telling you I'm going. Madeline Parker, Mom's voice went deadly quiet. If you walk out that door, you are no longer part of this family. The words hit like physical blows, but I stayed standing. Funny, I never really was. Mom! Alyssa gasped, one hand on her belly. Margaret, think about what you're saying, Dad pleaded. But Mom stood firm, tears streaming down her face. Choose, Madeline. Your family or your selfishness. I looked at each of them. Mom's rigid anger, Dad's helpless concern, Lindsay's cracking facade, Alyssa's pregnant fear, my family, my cage. I choose me. I turned toward the stairs, but Lindsay grabbed my arm. Maddie, please. We need you. No. I gently removed her hand. You need someone to blame for your own choices. Find someone else. You'll fail, Mom called after me. You'll come crawling back when New York chews you up and spits you out. I stopped at the stairs. Maybe, but I'd rather fail at being me than succeed at being your puppet. Upstairs, my room waited with its empty boxes, ready to be packed, ready for escape. But as I reached for the first box, my hands started shaking. They were right about one thing. I was terrified. Of failing, of succeeding, of being truly alone for the first time. But more terrifying was the thought of staying, of becoming another Parker family casualty, building my own comfortable cage beside theirs. Through my window, I could see Grandma Edith in the driveway, standing guard like a sentinel. Below, voices rose and fell like waves of recrimination. I picked up the first box. Sometimes burning bridges lights the way forward. Time to start packing. The last box was in Grandma's car when Lindsay's Mercedes screeched into the driveway, blocking our exit. She emerged like a corporate warrior, clutching a manila envelope. One last chance, she announced, striding toward me. Before you throw everything away. Move your car. Not until you see this. She thrust the envelope at me. Your college fund, the one Mom and Dad started when you were born, nearly enough for 4 years at State. I didn't take it. You mean your leverage? I mean your future. Her perfect makeup couldn't hide the desperation in her eyes. A practical future, with family support and strings. Always strings. That's what family is, Maddie. We support each other. We compromise. No. The word cut through her speech. Family isn't compromise. It's sacrifice. and it only ever goes one way. She flinched but rallied. You want to talk about sacrifice? Fine. Let's talk about who paid for your art supplies all these years, your dance classes, my babysitting services, my constant availability, my dreams that got pushed aside for everyone else's convenience. That's not. Did you know Dad kept my drawings? The question caught her off guard. Every single one, hidden in his workshop like evidence of a crime. Her corporate mask slipped. What are you talking about? The same place he kept your stories, Lindsay. The ones Mom said weren't practical enough. The envelope trembled in her hand. Stop it. Why? Because it's easier to bribe me than face your own buried dreams? I made my choices. No. The shout surprised us both. Mom made them. You just surrendered, and now you can't stand that I won't do the same. She threw the envelope at my feet, papers spilling across the driveway. You ungrateful little... Enough! Grandma Edith's voice cracked like a whip. She emerged from her car, something clutched in her hands. Show her, Madeline. I pulled out my phone, opened the email I'd been saving. Full scholarship, plus a stipend for supplies, and this... I nodded at Grandma, who held up a bank book. Grandma's been saving for me since I was born. A separate account Mom never knew about. Lindsay staggered like I'd struck her. You planned this, all of it. No, I just refused to let my dreams become another Parker family casualty. You'll fail, she whispered, but the words lacked conviction. You'll end up alone. I already am alone. The difference is now I'll be alone on my terms. Movement caught my eye. Dad standing in the doorway, watching. Behind him, Mom sat on the stairs, head in her hands. Alyssa nowhere to be seen. Move your car, I said again. Or what? Or watch me leave anyway. Without the perfect goodbye you're trying to script. Something broke in her expression. The corporate mask, the perfect sister facade, the weight of decades of compliance. I used to write about girls like you, she said softly. Brave ones. Free ones. Before Mom convinced you it was childish? She nodded, tears tracking through her makeup. It's not too late, I offered, to start writing again. It is. She dug for her keys. Some cages you build yourself. As she moved her car, Dad finally stepped forward. Maddie. I know, Dad. The workshop, the drawings. I should have. Yes, you should have. He handed me something. A small wooden box, beautifully crafted. Inside, I found my first crayon drawing, carefully preserved. For your new studio, he said quietly. Behind us, Mom's sob echoed from the house, but she didn't come out. I hugged Dad briefly, nodded to Lindsay, and got into Grandma's car. As we backed out, I caught a final glimpse of my family, Dad standing alone in the driveway, Lindsay frozen by her Mercedes, Mom's shadow in the doorway. Ready? Grandma asked. I looked down at the wooden box in my lap, then at the scattered college fund papers on the driveway, Lindsay's last attempt at control blowing away in the wind. Yes. Sometimes revenge isn't about hurting others. Sometimes it's about saving yourself. We turned onto the main road, leaving behind the house, the expectations, the carefully constructed cage of family obligation. Ahead lay New York. Freedom. A blank canvas, waiting for the first bold stroke. I didn't look back. My first gallery showing at the Academy brought an unexpected crowd. Among the viewers studying my work, I spotted a familiar silhouette. Dad, standing before my centerpiece painting. The canvas showed 3 birds in a gilded cage, the door open, one flying free while the others remained perched inside. I'd titled it, Family Portrait. You captured your mother's eyes, he said as I approached, in the bird that's staying behind. I didn't think you'd come. Wouldn't miss it. He gestured to the painting, though I suspect I'm the perch they're sitting on. The truth of it made us both wince. How is everyone? I asked, more out of courtesy than desire to know. Your mother's in therapy, finally. He ran a hand through his graying hair. Lindsay's writing again, short stories after the kids are asleep, and Alyssa. He smiled slightly. She turned her nursery mural into a full exhibition. Small gallery, but it's a start. Something tight in my chest loosened just a fraction. And you? Sold the cabinet business. His eyes remained on the painting. Started teaching woodworking at the community center instead. Turns out I like helping others build things more than hiding behind them. A commotion near the entrance drew our attention. Grandma Edith had arrived, commanding the room like she owned it. Several of my classmates immediately gravitated toward her, drawn by her sharp wit and sharper insights. "She's proud of you," Dad said. "We all are, even if some of us are still learning how to show it." Dad. No, let me finish. He turned to face me fully. "You were right about everything. The cage, the compliance, the cowardice. But you were wrong about one thing." "What's that?" He pointed to the flying bird in my painting. "Freedom isn't just about escape. Sometimes it's about showing others the door is open." Before I could respond, my faculty advisor called me over to meet a prominent gallery owner. When I looked back, Dad had moved to another piece, a small sketch of his workshop, the light falling just so on his tools. My phone buzzed with a text from Alyssa. "Baby's here. Named her Eden. For freedom and new beginnings. Thought you'd appreciate the symbolism, artist." Another message followed. "She has your eyes and your stubbornness. Refused to follow the birth plan. Did it her own way." I smiled, typing back. Good for her. Grandma finally made her way to me, her eyes bright with pride. "Quite a statement piece," she said, nodding at the family portrait. "Though you might need to update it." "Why's that?" "Your sister's bird seems to be testing its wings." She handed me a literary magazine open to a short story byline, L. Parker. "Lindsay published something?" "Under a pen name. Baby Steps." Grandma squeezed my arm. "Sometimes the bravest thing isn't flying away. It's showing others how to spread their wings." The gallery owner was waiting, but I took a moment to scan the room. Dad, studying my art with new understanding. Grandma, holding court among my peers. The empty spaces where Mom and my sisters weren't yet. My phone buzzed again. Lindsay this time. "Read your interview in the student paper. You're right. About everything. I'm sorry it took me so long to see it. Not asking for forgiveness. Just wanted you to know." I slipped the phone away without responding. Some conversations needed time, like paint needed to dry. The gallery owner approached, praising my technique, my vision, my courage in tackling difficult themes. But I was watching Dad, who had pulled out his wallet and was adding something to the visitor's book. Later, after the crowds left, I checked the book. There, carefully placed between its pages, was a photograph. Me at 5, covered in paint, proudly holding up my first real artwork. On the back, in Dad's careful handwriting, "The day you started flying." I added it to the exhibition, right next to the family portrait, a beginning next to an ending. Or maybe they were both beginnings, depending on how you looked at it. Outside, New York's lights painted the sky in possibilities. Somewhere back home, Alyssa was holding her rebellious daughter. Lindsay was writing in secret. Mom was finally facing her demons. Dad was building something new. And me? I was exactly where I needed to be. Free, creating, showing others the way out of their own cages. Sometimes the best revenge is living well enough to set everyone free.